Okay. All right, so let's take a look at Google Classroom first. In order to get there, you would go to classroom.google.com. You could also go through the little waffle in your Google Drive. Either way, make sure that you are signed in as, with your HCDE account, because if you're not signed in with your HCDE account, it might not work for you. So you really have to make sure that you're in there, and you would kind of go over here and make sure that this is your HCDE over here in the corner. And that's going to really, really help you. So when you get to Google Classroom, this is kind of your home page. Now, if you haven't used Classroom before, I'm trying to make this fit, hold on. If you haven't used Classroom before, you might not see all these classes. These are some of my classes. But in order to create a new class, to start, you would go up to this plus button up here in the top right-hand corner, and you'll notice that it says join a class or create a class. So we're going to create a class, and then we'll talk to you about join a class here in just a minute. So if we create a new class, you'll come up with this screen. And this screen gives you a couple options. It gives you an option to create a class name. I like to put the section and then possibly even the year, but you could just, we're going to put Google Classroom demo class. I'm going to put my name up here anyway, Bolus. The section allows you to add some different information. You could put like the mod number, class mod 1, period 2, period 3, whatever you want. None of these have to be filled out down here. You really just need a class name. Maddie talked about sometimes she would put her email in here so that students could see that at the top, and we'll show you what that looks like. Once you click create class, we wait. Hopefully not too long. And then here you've got your class, your demo class. And you can see that title that we put up there is here. And then what I put in section kind of comes right down below. It randomizes a theme for me. I guess we got chess and all kinds of games. But down here at the bottom, it allows you to select a different theme. If you go to select, it kind of has just some randomized pictures. I could go to English and history if that's my thing, and maybe find books and math and science and arts. So you could choose lots of different things that you might want for, for your class. So, and then you select it and it will change. There's also a place where you can upload a photo, and in a little bit, Maddie's going to talk to you about a template that she's made where you can actually create your own template and pop it in there into your header. I think she likes to use Bitmojis. Not sure I have the same affinity, but that's fine. It's in there too. So we're going to go over that. But right here in this section where it says class code is how you would share your class with your students. This is probably the easiest way. Now this is tiny. So if we click this little box, it'll pop up. And you can kind of see that you can project that class code if you were in class. You could also snip it or take a picture of it and post it, send it in an email, whatever you wanted to do that. So that's one way that you can share your class with someone else and have them join. There's another way up here at the top. You could go to where it says people. And if you head to the people tab, you'll notice that I'm in there as the teacher because I created the class. And then there's a students area here to invite students and give them the class code. Now, if I wanted to invite my students, I could, if I didn't want to give them the class code, I could click this invite students tab here, and I can invite them by email. So I could type their email in, like let's say Madison was going to be one of my students. I could type her in here, put her email in there, and then send an invite. And that would send them an email invite since they're in HCDE to join the class if I didn't just give them that code. What you don't want to do, you're going to be careful of who you add as students. Anyone that you add in as a student will receive all the assignments as if they need to complete those assignments and be in your student list. So you don't want to add like parents in the student list, because it will become extremely confusing when you're going to check assignments or grade assignments. You're going to have all those parents listed in your student list, and that's really going to get confusing. Up here with teachers, if you have a co-teacher, if you have a English department lead or a lead teacher that wants to be part of your class in case you're out and you need a sub and they need to see what's happening. Sometimes administrators like to be co-teachers too. You can do the same thing. Click here and type them in as an email or give them the code. So, does anyone have any questions about creating a class or adding people or asking people to join your class? Okay. Then we're going to kind of move on to your basic homepage, which is your stream. This is a lot like Facebook. everything that you post is going to show at the top of your stream as new. So all the new stuff is going to pop up at the top of your stream. And you have a couple options here. I'm going to move this out of the way. As you're working in your stream to kind of, post that. So as you go, you can create and schedule announcements. You can respond to student posts. So that's kind of, what you can do with this. I'm going to make this a little bigger and see if I can do that. So up here where it says share something with your class is where you could actually create an announcement for your class. So announcements wouldn't be assignments. It would just be something that you want them to know. So let's say you were going to have class in a different place. You're going to go to the computer lab to work on your essay or an assignment. And you want to say that, say, mod 1 will meet in the computer lab today. And then you can post that assignment. Now there's a couple other, not assignment, announcements. There's a couple other things you can do with announcements. You can choose where that announcement is going to go. If you have more than one class, let's say you made a class for each mod or each period that you have, that one class, like English 1, period 1, English period 2, period 3, you could actually post that assignment in multiple classes, or you could just choose to do the one class that you're in. You can also choose how many people you want it to go to. So you can see that Maddie joined my class. She's one of my students. If I had 25 students in here, I could choose to send it to all 25 students, or I could check or uncheck the students that I wanted that announcement to go to. So if I needed a few students to come and see me at lunch, or if I was having a focus group and I only had a couple students that needed this information, I could choose who would receive it. You can also add attachments on here too, not necessarily as an assignment, but as an announcement. You can choose anything from your Google Drive, Google Doc, a Google Sheet, Google Form, Google Slide. You could put in an outside link. You could choose a file from your computer, or even a link from YouTube. And that one I like because you can type in the name of the video, or even just copy and paste the link to the video, and that will pop right up. So you have all of those options. Another option that you have, you can post immediately. If you click post, it's like, boom, it's there. Or let's say that you're working the night before and you want this to post in the morning for your students because they're not looking at it the night before. Or you want it to post right at the beginning of class, but class for this class isn't until 11:30. You can actually schedule when you want your post to go. It often defaults to the next day, but you can pull up a calendar and you can choose what time. And then you would choose a time possibly in the future, 11 a.m. And you could schedule that if you wanted to. That's a great feature. I do that all the time. The kids are like, how did you post that? You weren't even by your computer. I'm like, If you're not done with it yet or you get distracted, you can always save your draft and come back to it. So we're going to go ahead and post this to show you what it looks like. And you'll see that it posted at the top of the stream. So any other questions about posting in the stream specifically? So announcements are one thing, but we definitely want to look at classwork, because classwork is another way that you can post things to your students, a little bit more specific to assignments. So in this classwork stream, you can post all of these different things. We're going to kind of work our way through these. We'll start with posting an assignment. We'll just start at the top and work our way down. So if you choose an assignment, this is really posting something that you want the students to do. So this is an assignment you want them to complete and turn in. It allows you for grade options to be able to grade. So you could put in, let's say you're going to do an expository essay, right, for Google Classroom. And I could put my title in. I could put instructions. Be sure to use MLA format for your essay, right? So I can put instructions in this little box and that pops up there for them as well. And then I have that same button to add. So I can actually go into my Google Drive and add a template for them or add something that I want them to use. So I could go to my Drive. I love this because it pops up all your recent stuff first. Or you could actually search by name. So I've got an expository essay template in here somewhere. I'm going to see if it pops it up for me. There's one. So I could actually pop up a template or something that I chose that I want them to use. This is really nice because whenever they're using a Google Doc or whenever you attach something to send out to the students, it actually puts their name on it and titles the assignment for them. I don't know how many times they're like, I know it's in here somewhere, but I think I forgot to title it, so it's probably one of these millions of untitled documents. This prevents that. So you can actually go over to this side once you attach something and decide how you want the students to be able to interact with this document. They can view it if you want, and that means you don't expect them to do anything with it. Might be just resources that you're giving them, instructions that you're giving them, whatever it might be. Or you can ask them to edit it, but beware. When you choose the students can edit the file, that means that every student you push this out to can edit this one document. Everyone. So you only really do that if you want to do something collaborative, if you want all of them collaborating on the same document. If you want each of them to have a copy and actually create an essay for themselves or create an assignment for themselves, but you want them to use this as a template, you would choose make a copy for each student. When you do that, it will push that assignment out to each and every student. It will put their name in the front of it for them, and it will include this title, this MLA expository essay, so that they will know exactly what it is. It has their name on it. It will be attached to the assignment, and you'll be able to see everything they do on that assignment from beginning to end. So this is probably one of the ones that I use the most. When you're done with any attachments, if you had any, you go over to the side on the right hand, over here, right-hand side, and you can choose again to post it in just your current class, or you can choose to post it in any of the other classes as well. So if you teach, 4 or 5 sections of the same class, you can post it in all the sections at once. Again, you can choose all students or just select which ones. If you have students who are doing some type of remediation or some type of enrichment, you can choose which students. The points are whether or not you were going to grade this assignment. If you run on a point system and you want to grade in Google Classroom, you can put the grades in here, 80, 85, 90. What Google Classroom won't let you do is put letter grades in. So if you grade on more of a standards-based system, like proficient and advanced, you would have to either translate that into numbers or use the ungraded option, which would make it an ungraded assignment. Again, you can choose your date and time when it's going to be due. So not only the date it's going to be due, but you could use the time too. Like, I want it by the end of the school day. So you could put, 3:30 or something, or whenever your day ended, and it would actually, timestamp it for when it was due. Topics we're going to go into in a little bit, and I'm going to show you that when we get to the other page, but you can actually create and organize all the assignments into your classroom. So rubric is a feature I have not used very much of, but you can actually create a rubric within this assignment for this essay or for whatever it is that you're creating. I have not used this one. I tend to import or use my own rubrics. This is kind of new for Google Classroom, but I'm really interested in looking into it a little bit more further. Originality reports is something that Maddie's going to go over a little bit later. It's a way that you can click this, and if it's a written assignment like this essay, Google will actually allow you to, it'll like check for plagiarism. Right now, you can only do this with 3 assignments per class, so I'm not going to quite do this for this one right now. And then you would click assign. And once you click assign, that will actually send it and assign it to the students in your class. Okay. So you can see that. If I, as a teacher, go into the assignment, you'll see that my template is here, and it shows me that it has been assigned to one student but not quite completed yet. Now I can either click here on the student where it says assigned, or I can click view assignment. If I click view assignment, it brings it up. If I had more students, they would all be listed here on the left. And then I can see that Madison has my assignment. Here's what I want to show you when we open this doc up. You'll notice that it has her name on it with the actual title. And if I open it just as a doc, for the students and everything, this is how it titles it. And that's one of my favorite things about putting assignments on, and putting documents on an assignment when you create it. So, all right. Any questions about creating assignments before we continue? I don't want to go to that. No? All right, then, oh, there we go. Then we're going to keep going. In Create, you can also create a quiz assignment. This is something that you want to create a quiz for. We know that Google Forms, Google has created Google Forms and made them as quizzes where you can create a quiz that will actually be self-graded. And we'll kind of go into that in a little bit more depth, but it allows you and actually gives you a blank quiz right here. You also have the option to create a locked mode on the Chromebooks. So if they're using their Chromebook, that is their school-issued device, it will actually lock it on that one screen while they take their quiz to kind of prevent them from, searching up answers and different things like that. So you could actually go into the quiz, create the quiz right from here. Put in your questions, put in your answers. When you put in your questions and your answers, you can actually click on Answer Key, where you would put your answers in. You could even give answer feedback if they were right or wrong, and attach and assign points for each question. That's how it actually does the automatic grading. So you could also import your own Google Forms in as quizzes if you made them outside of this type of assignment. This is just an option that Google gives you to create a quiz within classwork. So questions are great for class discussions. So like if I'm doing Romeo and Juliet or Shakespeare, I can pose a question to them that I want to start class with, and then they could actually answer it and it would come up almost like a stream. So this is great for kind of sparking discussions in your classroom if you do a question. Material might be one of my favorites. Materials, when you're looking at this button here, is a place where you can post things that you don't necessarily want to be assignments, but materials you want the students to use. So for me, it might be an audio version of a book we're reading, or a PDF version of a text that we're reading that's, so that they have that. It might be a crash course video for Romeo and Juliet that they can watch to kind of jumpstart their learning, whatever it might be. And then when you post that, it will actually come up as this little book with the bookmark symbol. So they would know the difference between an assignment and a material. This last one, reuse post, is really great too. Reuse post is one where you can actually select a post from any of your other classes. Like if I went to my English class and I could post, here's my, Romeo and Juliet resources and text, for example, and I could reuse that post and post it here instead. And bam, there it is. So here's like, my text version and some of my links. I had a graphic novel version, my YouTube. So all of the materials are there. I can post it, and I just literally copied it over from another class. So that's a really great option when you're creating that. Notice here that it also copied over my topics. Over here where it says all topics, you can create topics in your classwork to organize the assignments. So I can do Google Classroom Training, add that, and then I can drag assignments within here and put them wherever I want them to be. Now let's say I wanted my Romeo and Juliet to be closer to the top. I could even come over here and there's a move up, move down, and I can move it topic by topic all around. So topics are wonderful to gather your assignments into organized, basically folders. It's basically, kind of a digital file folder for your classwork in your Google Classroom. So one of my favorite things, to be able to move these around, and I can move them however I want. So really, really great option for those. Trying to see if there's anything else for this one. Oh, up here in classwork, you also have these two options, and the students can see this too. You have your class drive folder. When you create a Google Classroom, you will actually, and I'm going to go to my drive real quick, you'll actually have a folder that pops up that actually says Classroom. And this is the way to access it right here. Everything that you post, all the materials, all the assignments, everything that we do in your classroom will be posted in classwork. So the students can find it, you can find it, it keeps a copy of everything in your drive. Another thing that's really helpful is a link to Google Calendar. And this is for the students as well. So, okay, my Google Calendar is kind of crazy, so I'm sorry. But you can actually see assignment on the 20th that we posted. Ooh, okay, it went crazy, hold on. The assignment on the 20th, no, it's not, stop. Okay, hold on. Let's try this again. Anyway, on the 20th of March, right here is our assignment that we actually created in our class. So when the students go here to Google Calendar, they actually have their assignments posted on their Google Calendar for their HCDE, for their student accounts. So really great options there. To get back to your stream, you can either click here in stream, or you can click the name of the class up in the top corner. So, all right. Any questions? I feel like I went a little fast with that one.
Lisa, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I make a copy, let's say I want to put some questions I need them to complete, can I attach a student copy, and then can they type on that copy and submit it back to me?
If you choose to make a copy for every student,
yes,
then it will make a copy for them automatically that they can type on.
Okay, that's my question.
Yes, and then the copy that they have created that they can type on will be the one when they submit that assignment. So like if we go in here to Maddie's, for example, the essay. So when she actually writes on this assignment, because not this one, the one that she has assigned to her, if I go to assigned, right? And she writes on this template, she puts in her work, whatever it might be, and she, you know, adjusts this template to be her essay. She goes back in and actually, you know, submits it. When I go into it, I'll be able to see all the changes that she's made and what she needs to do from there.
Okay.
So I can actually grade it.
I just submitted it if it will auto update, but just so they could see that, but I don't know if it's going to.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say I'm having trouble getting my screen over. So what I might do, how about I show you a current class and some work?
Good idea.
So let's try that. Let me show you what this looks like with a current class with some work that students have actually submitted. So this is my English class. This is where my students and where we live. And this is my craft work section. So we are currently in Romeo and Juliet, but I'm going to go down to an older unit, To Kill a Mockingbird. They wrote an essay for me. So I'm going to go to this assignment. Notice I've got everything organized by units for the kids. I'm going to open up an essay that has been submitted. I actually had a student who just did some more revisions, and they've resubmitted it for me. Yay. So I'm going to open his and just kind of show you what an assignment looks like that has student work on it. So if we look at this, I'm going to open up, I'm just going to click on Josh, one of his assignments. It opens up this window that shows you everything that the student has either attached or created or has turned in. Now, I had a rubric that I used to give them feedback. And then the second one here is his essay. So you can actually see this is the one that I pushed out to him. It has his name on it. If I open it fully, you can see that it has his name at the top. It has the name of the assignment at the top, and he wrote his essay here. Now, a couple things happen, which I love, by pushing out assignments and making a copy for every student. First thing is I can see everything they do from beginning to end. At the top up here where it says last edit was yesterday, I can actually go in and see the history of this document because I posted it as a template for them and I pushed it out as make a copy. So you can actually see that we started working on this assignment in December. You can see where we checked his first draft. You can actually see where we sat down and did a teacher conference together. And then every edit that he has made, as we go through, things that I've commented on, you can actually see all of that. So this is a fabulous feature for teachers of writing, as you can see the writing process from beginning to end. I think you can also access that over down here where it says version history. So another thing you can do if you're grading within Google Classroom, like this was an assignment that I graded, and I did this a couple different ways. I had the rubric like I showed you at the beginning here that I attached for them, and there's lots of different ways to do rubrics. There's extensions like Doctopus and different things, but I like to comment right on their work, and you can use the Google Doc comments for this. You can actually see over here on the side that this student took some notes on some videos because I noticed he was having some trouble with MLA format. And so I'm going to show you how I gave him a video. He had to take some notes, and then I can comment back to him. And this literally becomes a written conversation on the student's work. So you can actually see that he commented, I commented, good notes, thanks. So he knew that those were acceptable. And you can actually go back and forth if they're struggling with something. Another way that I grade on assignments is through add-ons. Add-ons are great tools that they add to Google Docs. I've got some for grammar, specifically English ones, but this one right here, this one that's called Kazina. You see that one? I'm going to open that one. Kazina is an add-on that allows you to do voice commenting on Google Documents. Voice comments save me tons of time. So they show up as green highlights like this one here. Now some of these this student has resolved because he fixed some of these errors. It's been a while. But I'm going to play one of these for you so you can kind of hear. You have to, it's a little cringy, but it'll be fine. This one was an MLA format error, I bet, because it says PG. So let's see. No need for the PG period here. Just leave and the page number is fine. So more likely that was a parenthetical citation somewhere like this, right, where he put PG in instead of what he should have done. Now, obviously, when I first went through this and checked it, because you can see that these are about a month ago, he made this error more than once. So I'm noticing a trend. And oftentimes this happens with writing. Kazina not only allows you to do voice messages down here at the bottom, but they also allow you to upload and create lessons so that I can add video lessons in if I'm seeing an issue that a student's having multiple times. So this time that I identified it, I didn't put it in as a voice comment. I did a lesson with a video. And those are the notes that he took here. I was able to put the video in, and then he was able to take notes. So if I click on this lesson button, you can actually see there's some lessons that were just loaded in Kazina already. And then most of these I made myself by uploading videos and comments. That's the part that I love about Kazina. So there's lots of different options for you for grading assignments once you push out a copy to each student. Does that kind of help a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Anybody else have any other questions about documents or grading documents? A lot of people often ask about PDFs. PDFs are not quite as easy in Google. They definitely can be done. There are different extensions that you can add, like DocHub or Cami, I believe is another one. That allow you to write and annotate on PDFs. It lets the students write and annotate, open up a PDF in Cami or DocHub, and then export it back to Google Classroom. My students were kind of having some trouble with DocHub and their work disappearing. So I tend to try to transfer a lot of my work over into a Google Doc. But it definitely can be done. So, all right. I think I'm ready to move on. So I'm going to go back to our little, I'm going to go back to our demo class. I'm going to go back to classes here. Whenever you go to classes up there at the top, you can kind of see all your classes. I'm going to go back to our demo class real quick because I want to show you some settings. So I'm going to move this over. Up here in the top right-hand corner, this little gear button, right? You can actually play around with some of the settings of your classes, which is going to be really helpful to you because it talks about what your students can and cannot do. Definitely shows you all your information, your general information, your grading, and all of that. And hold on, Maddie, I want to get to where it shows me what the students can do. Is that under people?
No, go to, am I on? Sorry.
You are.
I am on. Okay. I've been turning on and off as I type. Go down to, you're in settings. You were in the correct spot.
Was I?
Mm-hmm. And
There
it's
it is.
down, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just wasn't looking.
You're good.
Thank you. All right. So under here, this is why we do this together.
Mm-hmm.
If you look here underneath settings, and that was in that little gear, it has general settings. Underneath where it says stream, this is probably one of the most important things. This tells or allows your students capabilities in the stream of your class. So do you want your students to be able to post and comment in your class like you do? If they post, that means everyone sees it and there's really no restrictions. So you need to be careful as to what kind of restrictions you give. That's up to you. If you want them to be able to post immediate, live time, that's yours. I tend to default here. Students can only comment. That way, if they have and I tell them if they have a whole group question, they can actually comment on an assignment or on a post and they can ask the question so that I'm not answering the same question from everyone everywhere. But you do have to set some parameters here, remind them that this is not Snapchat or Instagram. You know, they want to be appropriate. This is a school device. And you could also restrict that to where only teachers can post and comment. And then they would have to send you a private comment or a private email to ask you a question. So those are really important as far as restrictions that you can make on the students and what they can do. This is just viewing. Would you want show condensed notifications or show everything, show attachments and details, hide? So some people like to see everything. Some people like, things kind of streamlined. Garden summaries. You can actually import and add student family emails, and they would get a Guardian summary. I think it comes out either daily or weekly. I think they can choose, and they can unsubscribe at any time. And it looks something like this. It would come to them weekly. It would show them things that were missing, things that were due, and then the class activity from the last week. If they are in more than one Google Classroom, it will actually do it for every Google Classroom that they were in. All you have to do is sign them up in one of their classes, which is really, really helpful. You would actually go back to your people page, and you notice here it says invite guardians. That's where you would include those parent emails to get them signed up for that. You also have, it says here you can email the student. Yeah, CDE doesn't let us do that. Unfortunately, it blocks the emails from Google Classroom. If you were going to email a student, you'd probably have to do that through our Outlook instead. So just kind of an FYI that's not a possibility for us here. Okay. So if we go back to our stream, let's see, we did class settings. I did some grading. Oh, let me show you some of this tab over here that says grade. When you are actually grading work that student can.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
Before you start on that, could I ask, hey, Judy, can you mute your mic? Because as you shuffle papers, it overpowers.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. If you need help doing that, I can help. You're fine.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions about kind of the settings, the classwork, the people before we move on to, and I think I've done a lot with the grading, but before we move on to showing you like grades and how that would transfer over and what you would have to do for that.
I might also, while we're paused, reference a couple things from the chat. Because I'd love to know if somebody has an answer to Julia's question, because I have yet to be able to find one. Jordan was discussing the fact, we were talking about this yesterday, where she had them complete a Google form, but then they don't actually turn in the assignment. So what I said was that, like, this is an annoying extra step.
It is.
And I mentioned about putting in announcements, but Julia had a question about when doing an assignment, is there a way to put a time limit on it? I said, not that I know of through Google Classroom. I did some research on the side over here to see if we could time limit Google Forms, but it looks like as though if you do that, it's just saying students can access it during certain times. Does anybody that's here have an answer to Julia's time limit question?
No, the only thing that I know is that it will show as late if the students are past the time that you want them to turn in the assignment.
Okay, she's trying to do like timed multiplication tests virtually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I said not through Google Classroom that I'm aware of, but I will keep looking. I just wanted to pose it to the group.
Not that I know of. I would have to research that myself. I'm sorry.
Before we start, Judy, do you need help muting your mic?
Sure.
Okay, so scroll to put your mouse on the bottom of the window.
Oh,
And I think, Lisa, you can, oh, yay, you're the best. Okay, sorry. I think we are good now.
Okay, I think before I move on, I want to show you kind of like a student view too in some of the work. Like I said, this is the assignment that we created because I've shown you a lot about grading, and I'm going to go into, Madison turned in her work. Good job, Madison. Good job, Maddie. All right, Maddie turned in her assignment. So you kind of see this is what it would look like if it was turned in. It actually shows you that it's turned in here. This is one of the things I love, love, love. I can see it timestamps it. I can see exactly when this certain student turned it in. So there's no more, but I turned that in on time. I turned it in no, you didn't, it's right here, right? So like I know exactly when that student turned it in. Every version with this document, since it's attached, every time that I check it and return it to them, if they turn it back in, it timestamps it new. So it shows exactly when I return it to them, when they resubmit it, everything. Now, as far as the grades are concerned, we talked about this before. If you're going to put a number grade in here, let's say Maddie did great, she got a 95. I can put the number grade in here, I can go in and I can check it, and then it checks this little gray box. When it checks this little gray box, this box also highlights. Did you notice that I didn't highlight it before? I can take that off. Oh, see, and then I put it back on. This is the return button. So this shows me that, or shows the student, I'm done, and I return it to that student. It will ask me, are you sure? And it even allows me to put a private comment in there, like, great work, excellent, MLA, yay, right? And then I can return that to the student. And then it flip-flops from a turned in section to a graded section. And if I had more than one student, and I'm going to show you that in one of my classes, it will actually separate this out for you. So let me show you what that looks like. If I go to English and I go to my classwork, I'm going to go back to one of that essay assignment here. Okay, so if I go here, you'll notice that I have some that have been resubmitted and turned in. Here are ones that were assigned and are still working on that assignment, and that's under assigned. They don't do missing, but they do missings here. This means they missed the deadline. And then you can actually see the ones that have been graded, returned, but it still lets you know if they were turned in past the due date. Now, some of these might be inaccurate because we've had resubmissions, but you can actually go into one of these assignments. I'll choose my daughter's, for example. And you can see that it was originally submitted. I checked it and returned. She resubmitted it and then I returned it back. So there has been 2 different times where she has submitted it and then 2 different times where I have checked it and resubmitted and returned it back to her. That's why I love the See History button. So love, love, love that button. I'm also going to show you what this looks like from a student perspective, because I think I'm a member of your class. Maddie, is it still in here? I don't know if it is or not. Let me go to my big classes.
I didn't delete it.
Oh, there it is, demo class. All right, so this is a class that Maddie made yesterday, and I'm a student in here. Because sometimes you're like, well, I know what I see as a teacher, but what do the kids see, right? So let's take a look at what the kids see, because I think you pushed out assignments to me. I'm in here as a student in Maddie's class, so I'm just going to go into one of these test assignments. And this is what they see. They see that this has been assigned to them. They see when it's due. They see when it was posted, and then there's this view assignment button. This is the only thing that really irks me, is they don't really see anything unless they click view assignment. Thank you very much. Okay, so if I go into view assignment, it shows me the whole thing. In this little right-hand box, if she had pushed out any documents to me, that's where they would pop up with my name on them. It puts her comments here and her information. I can post a comment to the class here, like, I don't understand, or do we need to turn this in today or tomorrow, whatever, all class comment. Over here, the student can send a private comment just between the 2 of you, which is really nice if they have an individual question about the work. So this is the part I love. If you do not post a template for them, they can create the document within the assignment. If they create the document within the assignment, instead of going to Google Docs or Google Drive and creating something new in their drive, this will also put their name and the name of the assignment on whatever it is that they create or add, especially creating. So if I create a doc from here, let's say this was a writing piece, because she said MLA. So I'm assuming I'm going to use a doc. So I went to add or create and create as a student. Maybe. We'll give it a second. Come on. It's okay. Oh, okay, there it is. You can actually see up here that it put my name at the top and the name of the assignment that was given by the teacher, so that I won't lose this. It's also automatically attached the assignment so that when I'm ready to turn it in, I can write on here, I can go back and I turn it in. Yes, it's already attached. I don't have to do any extra work. Kind of takes some of the guesswork out of it for your students. And it also kind of, it gets rid of the whole, I can't find that essay that I made. I can't find the assignment that well, if you create it in the assignment, you don't have to. It attaches it directly for you. So that's a really great option here. If the students make a mistake and I'm like, oh, I forgot to add my works cited page, the students can unsubmit their work to make changes, because once they submit it, it locks the document. Then they can make their changes and turn it in again. But I'm going to show you, once it's turned in, I'm going to go back to that document I just made. I go back here, right? Well, it might not have kicked in for me. Let's refresh the page. Yes, reload. So I'm going to reload this because it's already been turned in and it does not let me do anything. Notice up here it says request edit access. Once the student turns in the work to you, it is frozen. So once they commit and turn it in, they cannot do anything to that unless they unsubmit it or unless you grade it and return it back to them. Any questions about the student view and what the students see? Okay, excellent. When you do make comments or return assignments to students in Google Classroom, it does send them an email notification if their email notifications are turned on. So I'm going to kind of show you what this looks like. Over here in your little list on the left, there are 3 little lines. I'm going to go back. See the 3 little lines? If you click on the 3 little lines, the classes is at the top, and then of course you can access your calendar here. You've got all your list of classes, and all the way at the bottom, it has settings. If you click on the settings in this area, not within the class, it has a notification section. And this is key. You need to tell your students at this point, since they are doing distance learning, that they need to turn on their email notifications. They will get email notifications from their Google Classroom classes. They can choose, although I suggest they turn on everything at this point, they can choose to get email notifications when there are comments, when there are private comments on their work, class comments and announcements and postings, work and posts from teachers, returned work definitely, so that they know to go back and check, due dates and reminders. Then you can actually choose, this is great for us teachers, not necessarily for students, but we can choose which classes we want to get notifications from. So I could turn off like the phase 2 juniors and seniors that I don't necessarily want to know every assignment that's posted to the juniors and seniors, but I'm in there because I'm the yearbook advisor. So, but you can turn on and off which classes you want to receive notifications from. Please make sure you have your students do this so that they get email notifications when you push out work to them. Another great thing over here on the side under the 3 lines, which I don't think we mentioned the other day, was this to do. It doesn't look very exciting for me as a teacher. It just really puts everything that is assigned and needs to be turned in a list, and I can choose which classes I want that to show for. So I could go class by class. But if I go in as a student.
Hey, Lisa, before you go away from that page,
No, you're good.
I answered somebody's question regarding this. Jordan, this is what I was talking about. If your students use this and they turn it in, it's going to drop off of these things. And that was what my students' incentives to do was to turn that in. But this was the screen I was talking about.
Okay, so yeah, because on a student version of this, it actually looks up here as, you know, work in progress or upcoming, but then they would have a missing section as well. So it would actually show their work as missing. And then as they did it, it would bop, you know, kind of pop down to things that were submitted or reviewed over here, things that were checked or graded. Obviously, I'm a teacher, nobody's grading my things. And so, you know, but that's something that you could kind of go in and do. But that's a great option as well. I wonder what it looks like here as a student, because I'm a student in this class. I don't know if it would show. Yeah, because I'm in here as a teacher. So, but you can kind of see everything. But I like that you can choose which class. So they could go in and be like, what do I have due in English right now? You know, what do I have due in history or whatever it might be? So that's a really great option. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the grades section over here. So I'm going to show you this in my class. So it looks, Google Classroom is not set up to automatically import grades into PowerSchool yet. So I kind of use it as a virtual like checks and balances, kind of like we used to keep our paper grade books and then, you know, import them into PowerSchool. I don't do that anymore, but I do sometimes. I will put the grades in here so that I can see them. So I'm going to go to a different class that actually has more grades because a lot of my English ones don't transfer over real well. This is my PBL class. So hold on, it's running a little slow. Come on, pumpkin. No. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to kind of see if I can show something that's been checked and graded. If it'll pop up. I don't know. It's running really slow. No? Okay. So here's one from me that has been graded, and you can actually see for each of these students that they have their grades in here. I had to put numeric grades instead of mastery levels. We run on proficient and advanced. So 85 would be proficient, 50 would be below basic, right? And then they have different things like that. And here's another assignment that I've graded that has the student's grade in. So you can actually use this kind of as a checks and balances type thing, where you can transfer the grades that you put in Google Classroom into PowerSchool, automatically alphabetizes your students for you. So this is a really nice way to kind of go back and forth, but it does not, unfortunately, automatically import into PowerSchool. And so I think, that's definitely something that you need to keep in mind. So I am almost through, I think, everything that I was supposed to talk about. Maddie, is there anything that you can think of that I might have left out, or would you like to maybe show your originality reports and things like that?
I can show this. I have it up, and then we will double check our notes and make sure we hit on everything, if that works.
Yeah, while you do that, and I'm going to go here and take it off and stop presenting. I'll let you go.
I'm also excited to share. I'm waiting on the email, so we know how that is when it's going through the school email. I don't want to do 1 second. So sorry, a window. Here we go. First thing I wanted to show you guys, since she was talking about the email notifications, I just got one from her. So I was going to show you quickly what that looks like for the students. Yeah, this is, and so this is also why it's important to turn it off for classes you don't want, because I just got like a bunch from her, but also from other ones. So this is what they see, and they should get an email every time you've done that. Okay, so I'm also excited to share oh my gosh, I've been answering questions and I already lost your name. I feel so rude. Julia, I think, asked this question. I'm working on, you're welcome to explore with me, this Timeify extension for Google Forms. I like doing assessments through Google Forms, so I was like, there has to be a way. So it was just an add-on that I went and found and then downloaded, but it's asking me, once I went to that, it asks me to make an account, so I'm waiting there. So I will update you on that. Okay, so a originality report. This is a new feature for Google Classroom. They just released this year. The great thing about this is you can check for original work if you're having students do more writing-based assignments. The bad news is it is limited to 3 assignments within Google Classroom. So I can use it on 3 different things that I assign for the students. So I used it on this assignment with my kids, and I wanted to kind of show you what it looks like on your end. So this student turned in their work. And if I have originality reports turned on, it will show me right here that there's flagged passages. This is a little bit hard to see on your screen. On my screen, it is grayed out, but I can click on it and show you. It's going to tell you the student's passage that it has tagged, and then it's going to tell you where it has found almost directly that passage on the web. So this is great if you are asking them to do very original work. This was kind of semi-original work because it is research, but they were supposed to analyze it and whatnot. So I was going through these, and so it'll tell you, hey, this looks suspicious. So this one's also flagged. And here's where we found that exact sentence. It's just something that, if you're doing a larger written assignment. This is also, I don't know if you noticed when Lisa was going over one of the things that I had posted yesterday, it showed her that I had put originality reports on that. The students can run it themselves 3 times before they turn it in. So they are able to go in and click it and see what it is flagged so that they can go in and make sure it's their most original work. So they get to do it before they turn it in. If you assign it afterwards, so let's say I had not turned it on for this assignment, right here instead of 4 flagged messages, it's going to say originality reports, and I could turn it on. But then if I have turned it on after they have submitted it, they cannot run it themselves. So it's an interesting tool to mess around with, especially in its early stages. Like I said, it was just released this year. But I have had some good luck with it and some nice points of, not concern, but just ability to show students, especially my kids are seniors going into college, like your professors will do this. You should be making sure you have original work. All right, I was also going to show you, so this is an assignment that I had for a course last semester. I was going to show you the comment bank. So I use this a lot when I was doing things in math because I would see something, oh, I don't want to do the whole thing. Let's say I am seeing a continuous type of mistake. So you did not use the order of operations. And that is something I'm continuously seeing throughout either this student's work or throughout the year or throughout with this assignment. I can comment this, but I can say, oh, I'm so sick of typing that. And I can hit these 3 buttons and I can add this to a comment bank. I can edit it before I put it in there just in case I had said, Finley, you did not use and I can take out their name or however I want to add it. It goes over here. So this is your comment bank. I'm going to click. I don't know if you can, my mouse is kind of hard to see. And I'm going to see all of my comments from my comment bank. So I was modeling this yesterday. So you can see some of my other ones. So this does carry assignment to assignment. So they'll always be there. You can't go in and delete them. But if I get so many going that I'm like, now I've lost that comment and it's just a hassle, I can now highlight this. And if I want to pull from my comment bank, I'm going to do the hashtag or pound, whatever you want to call it, symbol. And all of them, if I had more, would show up. And I could say, oh, I know this one's about order. And it'll start filtering them so that you can click, okay, this one was about order of operations. And it just kind of streamlines your work a little bit. That's a nice feature. I think that was all I was asked to cover. Did we find anything that we missed, or do we want to open to questions?
I did not find anything on our itinerary schedule, so I think we'll just open it up to questions. If you have any specific questions,
I'll stop sharing.
Anything about Google Classroom you'd like to ask that we went over, you'd like to see again, or just about anything, go ahead and unmute your mic and ask away.
So I'll jump in. Hi, this is Greg from my house. And I was just going to drop a link in for a survey because we're trying to figure out, I know you're thinking, why is he doing this? But we're trying to make sure that we can cover bases and get all the training that the teachers want if they want more on anything specific. So I dropped the survey link in, and I want to once again thank Maddie. Woohoo, I got it, Matt. I called you Maddie. Right on. And Lisa, for their time. I truly appreciate you all stepping up and coming in and doing this again. And I'll be sending you a note about, I guess, a Zoom meeting that we're going to have later, not like later today. Actually, no, not today. A Zoom meeting we're going to have later with all the folks that did the training. But I'm about to jump off and jump on to another call and get it ready because Emily McDonald keeps sending me notes. So you all have fun. Thanks again. I appreciate you so much. Yes.
You're welcome.
See my shirt?
Oh, I love it.
My son has the pace somewhere. Anyway.
Oh, that's adorable. Sorry.
Anyway, thank you again. And yes, ask questions because they are brilliant, but you all know that now. Anyway, peace.
Bye.
Bye.
He's so sweet.
That was sweet. Any other questions about Google Classroom or anything else that we might be able to answer for you while you're making this transition? No?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be limited to Google Classroom. We had questions about Google Forms. Obviously, this Timeify thing, which I'm still tackling. I know this is it. I just can't get the email to send.
Oh, I do have something I wanted to mention. Play around with Google Classroom. Make a test class like we did, those demo classes. Find one of your friends and talk them into being a student in your class and ask them what it looks like on their end. You know, make a sample assignment, push out some material, pretend to grade something. Just kind of play around with the platform before you push it out to your students. That way you kind of know what it'll do and what it won't do. Get your hands dirty a little bit. You can always archive that class. You don't have to push it out to anybody. You know, work with each other and play. And you can do this weekend before you push it out to kids next week.
I remember what you said, don't let me forget. And now you made me remember by saying archive a class was how to reuse a post.
Oh, yeah.
So you can reuse your posts from old classes if you archive them. So say I'm going to call out Judy because, you know, Love Judy. Judy has a lab that she posted last year that she doesn't want to have to rewrite all the extra details or reattach the assignment. She can go in, and I can actually show you really quick, and pull from last year's class. Or I don't do this a lot because it is not difficult to pull from your Google Drive. Excuse me. But if you want to repost that same exact lab, if it's a Google Doc. However, I do use a lot the schedule assignment feature. So I'm going to go to the demo class so I don't confuse my children. If you do the schedule assignment feature that Lisa showed you, what it's going to do is the second there we go. The second I go to schedule this, and let's say I'm going to schedule it for that time, notice I could, oh, bless, I did that yesterday. Did the same exact thing. Notice I can no longer click multiple classes. So if you teach multiple blocks, it's very annoying because you can't schedule them all for the same time. So instead of that, so that jumbled mess of everything, I could go to that other block. Am I in this, or am I a teacher in this, or student? Okay. I could go to the other block, hit create, and hit reuse post, and it'll pull up all of your classes. There you are. So I'm going to go to that demo class, and I could take that exact post and reuse, even though it's scheduled. So that's how I use it. You said archived classes, and made me remember.
Okay.
Bless it. It won't send. But hopefully Julia can get it to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I can stop presenting.
All right. I think we're just going to take any last minute questions, and otherwise we're going to tell everybody to have a great day. Anyone else have any Google Classroom questions for us? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope that this information was helpful. Don't forget that we are going to, once it processes, they've been taking a long time, but once they process, we will post the link to this training on the original spreadsheet where you found the link to the Google Meet. So it'll change from a live link to a recorded video. So we'll definitely post that for you. So you're like, you can go back there and kind of look it up as a resource. Maddie also posted the links to our step-by-step guide in the
oh, I'll do that one more time.
Yeah, so we could post that one more time just in case anybody wasn't here. And you can make a copy of this and keep it, and it's literally a step-by-step guide with pictures. She did a great job really putting that all together so that you have that too. Okay.
Oh, and I didn't talk about the header, but you're welcome to mess around with it. It's just a way for you to create something that's perfectly sized for the heading. That's later after you get super comfortable. It's just something, I didn't make it. I don't want to take credit for it. It's just something once you come across, you're like, oh, that's really fun and different, and it helps your kids organize their things, and your class will pop. But just mess around with it, but now you have it. I've almost got the step-by-step on there, and then you guys are good to go.
And please do complete that form, that survey that Greg put out. That would be really, really helpful for us as well. Okay. All right.
Well, it was awesome to see everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Guys, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
To hit stop.